Alright, time to get started on some customization, but before that I'd just like to give a big congratulations to me, because this is the third episode, which is one more than I released last time, so yay. Alright, that's enough of that, let's get on with the show. So I'm hoping that in the end this customization will get pretty hefty, with lots of options. If every game doesn't have at least one Hitler chasing around a banana guy while Big Bird or something watches in the distance, then I've basically failed. So in order to keep track of all of that in the editor, we're going to be using some scriptable objects to hold all the data, and we're just going to throw that on our player later on. Each scriptable object will hold a list for all the different parts, all the different sprites that will be applied to different parts of the body. And for now, we're just going to overlay a different object on top of each arm part or whatever. We could merge the sprites and, save a lot of memory and data and processing, but I do believe there's a saying that premature optimization is like Satan or something, so instead we're going to not do that and we're going to deal with the consequences later. But if how I've laid things out in my head is right, and generally it's not, but if it is right, then we should only have to really change a couple of functions here and there to get the optimization working. So fingers crossed for that. Now before we get started coding, we should actually have something that we're going to attach to him. So I'm going to open up my Sprite editor and make a hat. Whoa, is that actually possible that I haven't updated my own Sprite editor inside this project? Oh god, I gotta get with the times. Alright, and now he has a hat. I don't know, something about that just sort of rubs me the wrong way, I bet that guy owns a fidget spinner. Anyway, so now we're at least 50% done, and he can have a hat on his head, a hat on his arm, and a hat on his foot. Hats everywhere. I haven't made anything other than hats yet. We will get onto that in just a second, but first we're going to get rid of these boring old single collar, static, unchangeable sprites, and we're going to make some cool, customizable, color switching, pattern changing, awesome sprites. Starting with the hat. We're going to replace this part here where we add the sprite in with a place to add in multiple sprites with collars associated. Then we're going to tint those sprites with those collars and then merge them all into one sprite and then finally apply it to the player. Sounds complicated, but it isn't going to be too hard to do. In fact, it's already been done. The magic of video editing. Ooh. I must say, I've really outdone myself with the editor this time. What we have is a list of sprites here, a list of sprites here. We can add more lists of sprites. We only need 2 for the hat. We also have the collars associated. If I click generate, as you can see, we get an example image here. We can change that color to whatever we want. Click generate again. Now it's red. We can add in something like that, and there we go. There we have our white stripes. We also have horizontal and alternate horizontal, and of course you can change those colors to whatever you want. So now we'll rig this up with our character's customization controller and get him wearing some different colored hats. And that was super easy to do. As a side note, if any of you want to know how I do my fancy editor stuff, just leave a comment in the description and I might do a tutorial on it at a later date. I've gotten pretty good at it, and I think I have some things to talk about. Alright, now we can go ham and make all the sprites we're going to need for customization. But before that, we're going to do something about the fact that he already is wearing clothes. And now this video is no longer safe for YouTube. Rest assured though, we'll reacquaint him with his pants really quickly and also a lot of other fancy clothing. And so we can finally begin with the great sprite creation of 2017. Oh hey, but wait a minute, if you listen really closely, you can hear the sound of everything being broken. Aha, after a weekend of bug fixing I finally fixed it. Now I wouldn't want to understate the trouble I went to getting rid of those last couple of bugs. Just saying that it took me a weekend is not even scratching the surface of what I had to go through, but it all works now and he can wear some pants. Now we can continue where we left off earlier with the sprite creation. Again, hopefully this time I don't have to spend an entire weekend bug fixing. Oh hey, more bugs. Huh. And with that implemented, we have something similar to how it was before we embarked on this customization quest, with the add bonus that it is actually all separate from the player, which is really cool. So before I add in some more clothing options, I'm going to pay attention to these sprites here that don't currently have any customization options. And now that's done, so we can change the skin color from all sorts of shades of light to all sorts of shades of dark. And let's not forget apple, blueberry, carrot, and of course banana. And we can change all these other bits too. You might notice the only thing I haven't done yet is the hair. I'm going to do that now. But before that, one more thing to show off that I'm feeling pretty good about. That's right, we have some customizable face bits. Now you can do some blinking or some not blinking, and some faces that go over various levels of oh shit. It's actually really hard to do different facial expressions with so few pixels. This is probably about all I can get. But I don't know, I'll have plenty of time to play around with it later. So I've been sick for a couple of days and I've made an asset manager. Now we have a nice list of all of our scriptable objects and we don't have to fuss around with the project window anymore. Everything works as it did in the inspector, except it's all contained within one window. Did I need to do this? Probably not, but you know, it's going to be helpful going forward. Was this the best use of my time? No, there's several other things that I could have spent the last couple of days doing, but again, I do like my editor stuff. I've gotten pretty good at it. I wouldn't say I'm going to do tutorials on it in the future if I wasn't absolutely confident that I at least have something to tell you. Hell, I'm not even completely confident in this series, and this isn't even a tutorial, so you know that I at least have some faith in my own ability. But that isn't really the problem. The problem is I spend too much time doing it when I could be working on the underlying features rather than prettying it up. But it does look pretty, but there is still more to do. And in doing this, I found a little problem that's broken my customization. So to fix that, I've had to sort of implement items. I haven't done it particularly well, but I have an item manager here. Why the item manager isn't in the asset manager, seeing as the items are also assets, and I could have just put another tab here. Don't know why I decided to do this. Possibly because I might, in the future, implement a asset store asset manager. Don't know. Either way, separate windows. I guess it makes it easier, although, I mean, these tabs are pretty easy. I mean, come on. Either way, this isn't fully implemented yet, but eventually it will give us back our customization. And I've got a couple of features in the item manager that I don't have here that I need to bring over, such as the ability to search these lists. So if I type in item, then every single thing that has item comes up and it gets rid of the other stuff, which is actually in this case everything that doesn't have an item in it. These aren't drawn properly, these won't be like this eventually. Like I said, I'm halfway through it. And as you can see, we have multiple lists that we can name and also choose between, showing only a certain amount of them. So that's good. I need to bring that over to here because even though this is nice and all together, it's eventually going to get unwieldy to have a list of like 10 billion different bits. And you'd have to scroll down. So yeah. That being said, this is good progress. I will jump back to you hopefully when this is done and it looks all pretty. And yeah. Actually, this video is getting a bit long, and also the time between this and the last one is also pretty long. So I'm going to split this one into two. See you in the next episode where we'll finish the customization system. As I said, if you want to know how I do any of this editor stuff, let me know, and I'll definitely put out a tutorial or a bunch of tutorials explaining how to do a bunch of different things. Also, just let me know about this episode and all the other episodes in general and what you think I can improve on, what you like. I purposely left out all of the coding that I did in this episode and didn't record or explain any of that. Let me know if you prefer it that way, or if you'd like a bit of both, or you'd like none, or just all coding, or whatever. Basically, I'm hungry for feedback, so let me know. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Rest assured though, we'll reacquaint him with his pants really quickly.